analysis on all things sports, entertainment, and basically anything else you can come up with. Where we have some of the hottest takes, some of the craziest takes,
But there we go.
some of the dumbest takes,
I have an IQ of 48.
and where we believe that opinions are like. And now, to your hosts, Joel, Isaiah, and RJ.
Hey, thanks for tuning into the 6Three podcast, your June 9 edition of the show. Minus RJ has some prior commitments that came up last second today. So it'll be your favorites, Isaiah and Joel. And we'll have a special guest on later for some trivia still.
Hey, I think RJ was just afraid of having a bad list for offensive linemen, so I think he made excuses.
It's the toughest list, so are we going to defend him?
We'll throw him under the bus.
I like that. I like that idea a lot. There are definitely some strong offensive lines in this draft class, and definitely some pretty piss-poor ones. So a lot of guys that most people that don't really follow football probably have no idea who they are. And these guys are probably the most overlooked people on NFL squads at 53-man. So it'll be fun to try to explain ourselves to the common folks.
I've been out of many explanations, but usually it'll go with, I like this guy's name.
That's what we did last time for the tight ends at the very end.
Yeah.
So we are going to kick it off, and, man, I'm going to let you take the number one here.
All right. Well, we talked before the show. We both have the same number one. I would expect most people to have the same number one. Past couple of years, it hasn't mattered who's behind center. They've just been protecting them and having a good run game with a rotating cast of running backs. The Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, the two big names there are Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, but you got Brandon Brooks there too, Dillard, and I can't pronounce that guy's name, and I'm not going to try, but Isaac S.
Isaac Samalo.
There we go.
You did all right. You did good. That was a good explanation. You showed the comment.
Yeah.
All right. So then for the number two pick, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints. One of the most athletic linemen in the entire league, Terran Armstead, had a smoking hot 40 time in the combine a few years back. Andrews Pete was another first-round pick that has been pretty solid. Eric McCoy was an early pick. And then Cesar Ruiz this year in the first round, and Ryan Ramczyk. So they are just covered in first-rounders that have actually all panned out for the most part. So very strong linemen.
Right, yeah. That's the thing. There's a lot of first-round linemen on these lists and in these rooms, but not all of them – actually, really none of the groups have panned out as much as the Saints have had with all their guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, well, with the Saints off the list, I'm going to go with my number two. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. Tyron Smith, Connor Williams, Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, Joe Looney. That's just – there's a reason – like, Zeke Elliott is tremendously talented. We had the Dallas Cowboys very high on our running backs list. With that group, there's really no reason for him to not be good. Like, they are just studs. So, yeah, it's just one of the best. It's, top three room in the league.
I had them at 3, so they went right where they should have fell. So for number 4 for me, because we're going right in order for me right now, I've got the Indianapolis Colts. And with Anthony Costanzo and Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly at center, and then Mark Lewinsky and Braden Smith, I think all those guys have provided a lot of reason that the Colts still survived with a nice season, with Jacoby Brissett taking over at the end of the preseason. And then Marlon Mack is just, to me, he's just an average running back, but he looks very good, and they use his skill set well in Indianapolis. And then when Jordan Wilkins and just other running backs by committee on that team, there's a reason they have the success they do, and I think a lot of it is the power behind that offensive line.
No, I like Quentin Nelson's one of my favorite, probably my favorite young lineman. I like Mike McGlinchey too, but Quentin Nelson just like came in the past couple of years and just has dominated that room.
Like those
But
Notre Dame boys, that's for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, with the number 4 pick or number 5, I'm gonna go with a team that, I don't know. I don't want them to be a flash in the pan. I don't think they'll be in a flash in the pan. Sometimes when you have those teams, it's led by their guys in the trenches, the D-line and the O-line. But I think they'll be good just like they were this year. They had one of the lowest sack rates in the league. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Ronnie Stanley, Bradley Bozeman, Matt Skura, who I like a lot, Ben Powers, and Orlando Brown, who's a good tackle. They performed. You might have not thought it before last year, but they performed incredibly.
Yeah. No, again, the reason that they had the effective run game and Lamar Jackson was able to do whatever he wanted with the ball last year until he got to the play. But
right. I know you can give a little bit of – obviously you can get a lot of credit to Lamar Jackson's legs and his escapability, but you really don't – that gets stifled if you don't have a great offensive line. So,
yep.
I think they were a big part of that.
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers here at number 6. And they've got Alejandro Villanueva and Stefan Wisniewski, Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, and then their weak link is Matt Filer at tackle. But really everyone else on there is strong. It's the reason that I picked them in Madden is because they had one of the best offensive lines that was available in my other league. So,
yeah. All right. Well, with number 7, I know we have a different one there. And we were talking about it before the show because they got a new guy from the Redskins who might come back at only a part of his abilities, but he could, if he comes back 100%, they got a top 5 group. We go with the San Francisco 49ers. Trent Williams is obviously who we're talking about. It's hard to say what percent of himself he'll be, especially after taking a year off and dealing with the medical issues he dealt with. Laken Tomlinson, I don't put too much trust in him, but the remaining guys, especially Mike McGlinchey, like I said, besides Quentin Nelson, he's one of my favorite young linemen. He's a stud. I think if, like we were saying before the show, if Trent Williams comes back 75% of himself, I think they might have the 2 best tackles in the league in the same room. And if they do, your tackles are probably your most important parts, especially with how offenses are played this year and how with the zone reads and the running scheme that the 49ers play, they need those tackles to be strong. So if Trent Williams comes back and is looking like an old self, they are going to find tremendous success.
All right. I'm going to go with my 7 then, and that's the New York Giants. Nate Solder, Will Hernandez, Spencer Pulley, Kevin Zietler, and Andrew Thomas they drafted this year. They've built themselves a very good-looking line on paper. A couple of those guys, you still have to see if they pan out. You can never be sure with Andrew Thomas. Right. Don't have a whole lot of weight into a rookie. Will Hernandez is still pretty young, but Kevin Zietler and Solder are very proven offensive line in this league. So I give them the nod there for me at pick number 8.
Yeah. No, if the coach just comes in and tells Andrew Thomas to seal that edge for Saquon Barkley, he's gonna have a great rookie year. If he can just get out of Barkley's way and hold those DNs, whoever they're playing at bay, then
twice they have to play the Redskins and that ridiculous line. We'll cover them next week. We'll do the defensive line next week. For
sure, yeah, and that's something that like the Giants, the other teams in that conference are going to have to deal with. Is just like a front like that. But I like Thomas. He was I think he was a top 2 offensive lineman in my pre-draft rankings. But yeah, Nate Solder from the Patriots, and then Kevin Zietler. I've always liked him a lot. So. All right, at number 9, we're pretty much chalk. I mean, my top 8 are gone so far. We had obviously the 49ers and Giants mix, but I'm going to go, as much as I hate to say it as a Lions fan, I'm going to go with the Packers. I especially hate to say it as a Lions fan because I wish we had Wagner still. But again, tackles are so important. Rick Wagner, David Bakhtiari. That's those 2 guys leading your offensive line with the little bit of mobility that Aaron Rodgers still has, but I think that's a solid line. They've obviously gotten the job done with having Aaron Jones, who not a lot of people knew a couple years be as successful as he is. And like I said, there's a reason Aaron Rodgers has so many opportunities to throw those downfield dots as he does. But no, I think they got a strong group. They miss Bulaga, but I still think they have a good group there.
I think you're a little higher on Rick Wagner than I am. I didn't really care for him much with the Lions. I think he's average. So obviously Bakhtiari is one of the best ones in the league. So you got that going for you. I think their two best ones are Lane Taylor and Bakhtiari, but Lindsley's meh, Turner's terrible, and Wagner's again the average lineman that I thought he. So I had them at 17 on my list, but
okay.
I mean,
I had Rick Wagner a little bit above or a bit above average. Maybe it's just Lions fervor just making me miss him because we didn't re-sign him, but yeah, I could see them being down in the teens. But I think Wagner fits into that system pretty well.
All right, I will go with the Cleveland Browns here at number 10. Jedrick Wills, they drafted first round this year. Joel Bitonio, one of the best guards in the league. J.C. Treader's been a strong, well-traveled center, but a strong center. And then Wyatt Teller at guard is probably the weak link. And then they picked up Jack Conklin from the Titans this year too. So we're a Michigan State guy there, and I think they've built themselves a pretty strong line.
No, I still have the Titans somewhat high on my list, but if they had Jack Conklin, they would be a bit higher. But I do like
top 10. I think I'd have them top 10 if they have Jack Conklin. So still.
Yeah, for sure. No, Jedrick Wills I think is going to be good. I've liked Bitonio the past couple of years. And then like I was saying, I like Conklin a lot. With 11, I'm going to go with my number 11. As we've been pretty much chalk for me. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. I mean, there was some like who knows what happened with the Patriots last year. We all say that when they don't win the Super Bowl. But Marcus Cannon, David Andrews, Shaq Mason, Joe Thuney, like all those guys, you just like, at least for me, I recognize those names. I know them as solid guys. They've just been solid for years. We were talking earlier, like this will be a very good testing year for them with a new quarterback with a different person behind center. But I think that's one of the reasons, or one of the very few reasons I think Stidham could have some success is that O-line. Yeah,
I think almost anybody they put back there, if they find a third grader right fresh off the bus, I think they could make it work. Those guys are strong offensive linemen from any film that I've ever watched. It's just the scheme that they ran last year for the sake of protecting an elderly Tom Brady. I think it was get rid of the ball in 3 seconds or less. So you don't really have a true test on if these guys can hold their blocks much longer than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we could see them. I mean, I have them at 11, but we could see them at the end of this year shoot up the list, maybe even to the top 5, depending on how well they do without an old quarterback. Mm-hmm. But if they aren't up to the test after growing a little complacent last year, maybe they'll drop down. But I think, right about the top 10 is perfect for them.
Okay, I'm kind of battling back and forth with I have 10 and 11 still available on my board, but I'm battling back and forth on these guys. I think I'm going to go with a more proven line than the other one that I have, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cam Robinson out of South Carolina has been a really nice tackle in his young age. Andrew Norwell is a veteran guard that's top of the league. Brandon Linder is a top center in the league right now. Their weakest point is A.J. Cann, and then they somehow stole Jawan Taylor, who was projected to be the top tackle off 2 years ago in the draft. They stole him in the second round. So I think this is a really strong offensive line personally.
Yeah, I had them, these next few teams I have kind of like just put with recognizable names and who I thought they had a good young core, but I had the Jaguars at just 15, so I don't have far off of 10 or 11, but I think they have a good crew that will look a lot better than last year, and maybe Gardner Minshew can do a little more magic behind this line. We'll see.
Sure.
All right, well, I am gonna go. Man, I always second guess whenever I pick this team because I don't want to sound like a homer, but I am gonna go with the Detroit Lions. I still like Taylor Decker. I really like Frag Ragnow. I think he's still developing into possibly one of the best centers in the league if he really comes into his own. Halaputi Vaitai. I like Rick Wagner more. I think he's a decent stand-in. I think he's all right. I think he's very serviceable. There's a lot better they could have done at that position in free agency. And then Joe Dahl, Jonah Jackson. I don't know who's going to be in those guard positions at the end of camp and everything when the season starts. It could be other people. But I do like Decker and Ragnow, and I think Vaitai is. I hate saying good enough in sports, but I think he's good enough to help those top guys be a little serviceable.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Frank Ragnow, I think, will eventually be one of the top centers in the league. Taylor Decker, I think, has gotten better every year, so I think he's going to earn himself an extension if he keeps it up.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough has been done with the guards for me to put them higher than 20 on my list. So I have them at 21 on mine, and I think it's just the uncertainty with the guard position. And they got Logan Stenberg, so they've got guys they can plug in there. I don't. Jonah Jackson, we don't know what we're going to get. Logan Stenberg, we don't know what we're going to get. I personally like the way Joe Dahl played last year. I just don't know if see how he does in a full season of not splitting with Kenny Wiggins or Graham Glasgow,
Well, and it's tough, to go. I mean, we kind of have to go off the recency bias, but it's tough to judge an offensive line when you have a second and third string quarterbacks behind them because Matt Stafford's out so much. It's hard to fully judge how they will be this year when it's a totally new guy behind center, and that comes into issue with some more teams with rookies and with other guys coming back from injury. But yeah, I mean. And that's the thing. Stafford can make his O-line look better than they are with how quick he can get the ball out and how quick he can make reads. So
there's plenty of valid points that you offered. Just that they operated half the season with a second and third string quarterback. I think that's plenty of reason, to at least give them a little bit of praise because, rookies are notorious for holding onto the ball for too long. So I think that could be a reason maybe the stats don't look as pretty on the sheet because half the year they're battling their backups. So I get that reason.
For sure. And we said a similar thing with the Patriots with going from Tom Brady to Stidham next year. You only have 3 seconds one year, and then maybe next year you have closer to 4 or 5 seconds, and that can change how your offensive line looks.
Yep. All right, I'm going to go with this is pick number 14. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks. And I have Donovan Smith is just a strong veteran tackle, and Tristan Wirfs at the other side of the tackle they drafted in the first round. Tristan Wirfs was, to me, the best tackle in this rookie class from what I saw of him at Iowa. But I think that's because we watch Big Ten games a little bit more. So I think, again, we look at tackles. We don't know what we're going to get for sure with Wirfs, so we can't put him too high. But definitely very strong tackles there in the league. Ali Marpet. I think he's out of one of the smaller schools. Hobart, I think he went to Hobart College. And, he's one of the best guards in the league. And then Ryan Jensen and Alex Kappa are just kind of meh. But I think we're kind of getting to the point in this draft where we're finding teams with 2 or 3 strong offensive linemen and maybe not 2 not so good. So I think that's where I'm going to put the Bucks here at 14.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of that, my next group we're going to go with kind of has a couple really good guys and then some meh people after that. But I'm going to go with the LA Chargers. Brian Bulaga, Mike Pouncey, I like them too a lot. Sam Tevy, that's a name that interests me, but you got Trey Turner and Dan Feeney. You got those couple top guys, and then you're kind of just again, serviceable guys at the rest of the positions. Maybe some guys who could overperform because they have strong guys next to them that are taking up a little bit of attention and some pressure off the quarterback, so it looks a little better for some of those other guys helping double teams. But I think the LA Chargers have a good offensive line to work with their rookie quarterback behind. I think he's got a good system. So we see that so often with rookie quarterbacks. They have just a terrible O-line, and it makes them look bad.
Poor Josh Rosen.
Right. Oh, yeah. I know. But, I think their rookie has a really good O-line in front of him to make him look not much better than he is. I think he's good, but maybe just boost him and get his development working faster.
I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders next here at pick 16. Colton Miller, he can turn out to be a pretty strong tackle. He's still very young. Richie Incognito, the bully that he is at guard, even if he's a big meanie face, he is a very good guard even in his elderly age now. I think he's got to be pushing 35.
Right.
And then Rodney Hudson, he's also old. So these guys are getting old, but Rodney Hudson is still one of the best centers in the league right now. And Gabe Jackson doesn't disappoint me. And Trent, there's no one bad on this team, on this offensive line at least. No starter really stands out as a weak link. There's a couple average Joes, but there's two strong guys, in my opinion, with Rodney Hudson, and Incognito is still one of the best guards, even if he's a meanie face. It's old. So.
Yeah, even if he gets the cops called on him at a funeral home. Well, next I'm going to go with they have a couple good young linemen. They have a young team, really. So I don't know how great they'll perform, but I think they got a lot of promise for this year. But I think they'll still be good. They were pretty decent last year, and I think they'll be better this year with some development. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos. Garrett Bowles, Graham Glasgow, two great young guys. I mean, we know Glasgow from Michigan, but you got Juwan James there too, and Risner. Like, I think, like we were saying, you got kind of those couple guys and then some guys to fill in. But I don't know a ton about those guys, but none of them seem awful to me. Like, they just seem to have guys who are just like, yeah, they might not blow up and get a bunch of pancakes all year, but they're gonna give their quarterback a couple extra seconds, or a half a second here, half a second there.
So yeah, they were actually next to my list. And Juwan James at tackle, I really like him quite a bit.
Yeah, me too.
Graham Glasgow obviously has proven to be a nice little pick for a third rounder. And Garrett Bowles is my problem. Garrett Bowles.
Oh, you don't like him?
So he's good when he's not holding, but he led the NFL the last 2 years in holding penalties. He just
all
the time. He screws his team so much, and with a young team that can suck the juice out of you, and also just put you backwards. It's just a huge morale killer when you have just dumb penalties that are unnecessary. I remember watching a game with the Broncos last year. I think Bowles had 3 straight plays of holding penalties. It's like, okay, stop it. At this point, I'd rather you just not even block.
Yeah, and when I was looking up some statistics and everything, I saw that he led in holding, but I assume a lot of that will just come out with age and with getting some more experience under his belt. So I think every year it'll be less and less. But yeah, that kept him from being a little higher on my list because I had him like right around here. I think there's only one team we haven't talked about above them on my list at least. But I really hope that's just a bit of age. I hope he just kind of grows out of that. I expect him to. I think a lot of those younger guys, because if you talk to D linemen, and obviously it's D linemen talking, they say everyone holds on every play. It's just whether they get caught or not. I hope Bowles will just get more sneaky and more educated with how he holds and when he picks to, because obviously last year, if that is true, everyone holds. He's just really bad at hiding it.
Yeah. I think he's already got a target on his back. If referees learn your name after they call your number so often in a game, so they just keep an eye on him.
Well, and he's in a tough what do I want to say, conference or division to go against guys. I mean, you got a lot of really good pass rushers that.
Yeah, Bosa. Yeah, Bosa's a big one.
Bosa, you got I know he's an interior lineman, but you got Jones too. And you got like those the Chiefs throw out weird pressures, so they might catch him off guard and make him hold, and like he's got just some things to deal with. But hopefully, like I said, he grows out of that. But yeah, if he doesn't, they're not as high as I rated them.
Yeah. All right, pick number 18. I'm going to go with the New York Jets. They drafted Mekhi Becton this first round. Again, it was a very good offensive tackle class. Mekhi Becton had a stellar combine, and he played well when he was at Louisville. Blocked a little while for Lamar Jackson. I'm pretty high on him. I don't know what we're going to get out of him. So I think that's kind of cause for, question. But Chuma Edoga isn't a special tackle. He's kind of an average Joe. So obviously with the tackles being important, I don't know if I should necessarily have them here, but I think I give enough credit to their interior linemen where they've got Brian Winters, who I'm high on, and Connor McGovern. I like those guys a lot. Alex Lewis is probably their weak link there. But I think between their center and their left guard, and then obviously me being high on Mekhi Becton, unbeknownst to what he could be, I'm going to go with the Jets here at this point.
All right. Yeah, I had him a little lower, but I agree with pretty much all you're saying. I had him at 21, so not far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's tough to see like Mekhi Becton, great combine. I mean, it depends on the position, but we don't always see that translate into success.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot too. So, and I like a little bit of what they're working with. I mean, and your running back, gosh, why can't I think of his name? Le'Veon Bell. He makes an offensive line look better than they are. I mean, he had a great offensive line in Pittsburgh. He had an amazing offensive line, but with his just backfield vision, like he can make an offensive line look pretty good. All right. Well, we mentioned him earlier because they lost a guy, and I wish they still had him because they would have been a lot higher on the list. But I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans here.
On my list.
Not Taylor Decker, Taylor Lewan. You still got Taylor Lewan holding down the tackle spot. You got some decent guys there. I like Isaiah Wilson a bit. Maybe it's just because he shares my name, but they had I know Jack Conklin, but they had, I think, one of the lowest sack rates in the league last year. So obviously you lose that right tackle who did a big portion of that, I'm sure. But I mean, I think they're still pretty good.
Yeah, so Roger Saffold's a guy that jumps out too at that guard position because he was flat crap in his first 2 years with the Rams. They were St. Louis at the time because he was a rookie in 2015, I believe. And he was just terrible in 2015 and 2016. And then they were getting ready to already cut him because I think he was an early pick. I think he was second round. And getting ready to cut him. And then he stepped up. They gave him one more final year, and he had a very strong 2017 season. And the Rams felt comfortable with, I think they got a sixth round pick for him. So I think they got something in return after a guy that was just straight trash for his first 2 years. Probably didn't even belong in the AAF. Yeah. So, I mean, Roger Saffold helps that line a little bit. We've seen his improvement each year. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears.
No,
Okay, go on. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Chicago Bears at 20 here. I know they would have went around if RJ was still here because he would have refused to pick them. But they added Jermaine Ifedi, who is he's a utility guy. He can play guard, tackle. He was with the Seahawks. And then George Font got good for the Seahawks, so they didn't need him anymore. Bobby Massey, Cody Whitehair, James Daniels. Those guys are all really solid. I think their weak link is Charles Leno. You just don't know what you're going to get with him.
Yeah, no, I had him right around there on my list, so I like it. I am going to go next with, I mean, we're kind of getting to some tough spots. We have just a few teams with like maybe one outstanding guy and then just some kind of placeholders and people just to be on the field with him. So I'm going to kind of go with one of those teams with the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Mitchell Schwartz, who's just great, who's awesome, who's been holding it down for a long time. But then you just kind of got some guys with him. I mean, I like Eric Fisher, but obviously Patrick Mahomes' escapability makes that line look a little better. So maybe I have him a little high rated than they would on another team. But I think they got a strong two guys and then just some other dudes to be in there with them.
All right, pick 22. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. Jake Matthews, he was top first round pick, I believe, and he's not been quite what we want to see from a first round pick. But Alex Mack has been a good center for a long time. Chris Lindstrom was an early pick for them last year, and then Caleb McGarry also they drafted the same year as Lindstrom. So got a couple of young guys that definitely I see a lot of potential with. James Carpenter is their weak link for me.
Yeah. Because I like Alex Mack a lot, but he's 34, and I like again with offensive linemen, their age isn't as much of a factor in other positions, but he's getting up there. But he's still kind of just holding it down as one of the most consistent centers in the league. He's just been around for obviously so long, like over a decade, and just continues to be good. So, there's a reason the very immobile Matt Ryan can can throw some dimes to Julio Jones because, yeah, that middle of the line is good, and then they just give him some time. All right, I'm going to go. Man, I'm a little unsure about this pick, but it was the reason I picked them as my Madden team, my first Madden team. Because I thought they had a good offensive line, but obviously
You were wrong.
I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I like Riley Reef and Pat Elflein. They got some other guys there. I recognize Garrett Bradbury, but don't know much about him. The other two guys I don't know much about, but I do like Riley Reef and Pat Elflein.
That means all the NFC North teams are off the board.
Yeah. Hey.
I had them at 27, but I mean we're at 23, so technically it's still within 4. Not a huge deal.
Yeah.
Gosh, I think next on my available list is Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Julian Davenport, not a strong tackle. Austin Jackson, he's out of USC, and he actually was one of the first tackles. He's a first-round tackle, I think, this year. He was one of their first.
Yeah, I don't remember if he was their second or their third first-round pick.
He was first-round regardless, so that says something. Yeah. I guess he's out of USC. Michael Dieter was out of Wisconsin. Wisconsin always plugs some good guys out. Ted Karras has been around for a while at center, and Eric Flowers is also pretty well traveled. So I think they tried to find some veteran guys to go with some of those younger guys like Dieter, Jackson, and Davenport to see what they could do. So I think these we're getting to the point of now potential. I'm going to start running out potential.
Okay. Well, and I'm going to go with, it looks like the last team with a stud. And then you just got a bunch of names next to him. But I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. You got Laramie Tunsil, who I think is has an argument to be possibly one of the best tackles in the league. But then you just got dudes next to him. You just got names, people to play the role. But I don't like putting Laramie Tunsil much lower on the list. But I don't know. It's tough with them because I like Tunsil, but they also give up a ton of sacks with Watson. 2 years ago was much worse than last year. I think they had like record-breaking amount of sacks given up. But I think they're starting to make some moves to shore up that offensive line for Watson. Who knows if they'll keep him forever. But I just like Tunsil a lot. And then those other guys, when we get to this point in the list, you can put a lot of names next to Tunsil, and I'll pick them in the mid-20s.
Okay. Pick 26, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. Deion Dawkins and Cody Ford at tackle. I think those are above average tackles. So I think that's a pull for me. I like Quentin Spain. He's been very inconsistent. It's like every other year he's been solid. And then Mitch Morse has spent some time with the Kansas City Chiefs, and John Feliciano is probably the weak link on that line.
All right, well, next on my list, I am going to go with the Carolina Panthers. I still think Russell Okung's got a bit left in the tank. Don't mind Matt Paradis or Michael Schofield. But, yeah, I mean, hard to say a lot as we get to the end of the list. But, I do like Okung, though. I think he was good for the Chargers, but I think he'll be good at the Panthers, too.
All right. I'm going to go pick 28, the Arizona Cardinals. DJ Humphries and Marcus Gilbert at tackle. Humphries could be a little bit better. He was a first-round pick at one point, and he's maybe average. Marcus Gilbert's above average, but looking at his age, I think he's 33. So he spent some time in the league. Mason Cole, shout out to Michigan at center. And then J.R. Sweezy spent some time with the Seahawks and Justin Pugh as well. So I think just some average Joes they decided to plug in kind of last second, it looks like, that have our veteran presence. But nothing too special at this point, obviously, at pick 28.
The only thing special left is J.R. Sweezy's name. I mean, that's great.
Yes.
All right. Well, next on my list, I mean, we have literally all of my top 28 picks already.
Yep,
so,
same here. So
I'm going to go with the L.A. Rams at 29. I like Andrew Whitworth. He wasn't incredible last year. It's hard to be incredible on that team last year. But yeah, that's the last name on this list that I really trust a lot, more than the other names on this list. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams.
I think my 30 is easy just on the fact that you're looking for superstars still left, and it's 30 Washington Redskins for me. Brandon Scherf is a stud lineman, and
Yeah.
there's really not a whole lot left. I like Chase Roulier at center. Morgan Moses is solid at tackle, but Wes Schweitzer and Cornelius Lucas was a third-string scrub off the Detroit Lions. So they're really hurting on that right side of the line, but everywhere else is at least serviceable, I guess.
Yeah. All right, well, with 31, let's see if we stay on task with each other. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, nicely done.
There we go. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Not much. Just second worst offensive line in the league.
That just means poor Joe Burrow. I mean, another rookie quarterback that has to start out with the worst offensive line on our list here, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Good grief. You know what, Jonah Williams, obviously still young. We don't know what to expect out of Jonah, but gosh, man, it's a very young line if you really look at it. Bobby Hart's been around for like 8 years, and Xavier Suafilo has been around for a couple years, but he's been nothing but like a 61 overall on Madden. So I just nothing impressive.
Yeah.
Billy Price was a first-round center. The year that Frank Ragnow went, it was like Ragnow and James Daniels and then Billy Price. So, I mean, he's got potential. And Jonah Williams, obviously, potential. Michael Jordan maybe he's the GOAT. So
I was going to say, the day I live to see a list where Michael Jordan goes 32nd on it, I just can't believe it.
It happened today on the 6'3" podcast.
Ridiculous.
Oh, good stuff. All right, man. So our discussion topic this week was kind of a last-second discussion per you, and I was a real big fan of it. I jumped on board the second I could text back and say, yes, Queen. It is the best team announcer, broadcaster booths in all of sports. And
Yes.
I know you, man. That was a great request because it wasn't even on a rough draft of ideas that we wanted to discuss throughout the season. But then I just shot it out to you, and you pulled that out of your tail, man. I was a big fan.
Hey, I mean, I love talking about people who talk about sports.
Yes, good stuff. Yeah. So I don't know, man. You give me your first guy. What are you thinking?
All right, my first guy. My favorite announcer, he's been in many sports, mostly college sports, basketball and football. I couldn't pick a duo because he's been with a few different guys, but Gus Johnson. I love Gus Johnson. I wish he still did March Madness. Just him screaming. Like, he literally just screams.
There's so many good ones, dude. Like,
Isaiah, shot clock turned off. Game clock at 8. He's going to do it himself. Thomas, shake, crossover, step back. At the buzzer, yo, see, Washington wins it. On the last second, Jay, cold-blooded.
that cold-blooded line, man. I like the same. He's got Denzel Ward where he's like, you got barbecue and you didn't invite me? Hurt my feelings. Like, he's got so many good lines, man.
In the pocket, goes down the field for Smith. Oh, he got it! Smith, touchdown, 85 yards, Iowa.
I have literally like 5 sound bites of Gus Johnson on me. At this time, I can just go through all of them. He's awesome.
He just sounds like just a guy at a bar you watch sports with who just
yes, he's a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Joe Buck's voice. I like his vocal cords. Like, I think he's got a nice baritone voice, but he has no expression or enthusiasm with it. Why would you waste those pipes on a monotone? Like, I think I've heard one good announcement by Joe Buck his entire career, and that was when Stephon Diggs had that miracle catch against the Saints in the playoff game. That's the only one I've ever heard. But I remember, what was his LeGarrette Blount, when he was with the Bucks, had one of the best runs of all time that I've ever seen.
Oh, like, yeah, and just Joe Buck sucks the life out of it.
And he's just like, one of the best runs of the year. Wow, what a run. Like, okay, what a waste. You literally, in your line, you said one of the best runs of the year, and you said it like, one of the best runs of the year. Like, he did. I think he announced the Eli Manning to David Tyree ridiculous miracle catch, too. And he's like,
yeah. And it was just
he escapes the pocket, throws it up, and Tyree makes the catch. Like, that's in the Super Bowl, and it was one of the greatest plays of all time. And that's what you did. That Gus Johnson wouldn't be able to catch his breath after that. And that's what puts Gus Johnson above.
He would have had Gus Johnson would have lost his mind. But, you know, I like you're saying, I like a lot of Joe Buck. Like, I think he's intelligent. I think he knows what he's talking about, which a lot. So you can't say about a ton of play-by-play guys. Some of them just are there because they have good pipes. I think Joe Buck has a lot of knowledge about these sports, but I think it's been getting better in recent years that he's getting more emotional. I think he's maybe heard the Twitter crowd telling him.
Yeah.
So it's gotten better, like you said, Stephon Diggs. Like, that is a great call. That is an amazing call. So I want to give him opportunities to do it. Like, hopefully with this coming World Series, he'll step up to the plate. Pun intended.
I'll play him. I'll play him right now.
Steps into it. Pass is caught. Diggs, sideline, touchdown, unbelievable. Vikings win it.
But then you have other ones like, well, then you have this.
Now first down for Tampa Bay. They needed that completion to Ben, and now they get a good run from Blount. He won't go down. LeGarrette Blount, what a run. One of the best of the year, LeGarrette Blount, all the way, and he broke tackles at every step.
How you gonna say that, bruh?
I know. Like, and that's the thing with that Stephon Diggs one. Hearing just the call, I can play that back in my mind and be like, oh, yeah, like, this is when this happens, this is when this happens. But with that LeGarrette Blount one, I'm like, oh, he broke tackles and I didn't know until the end of the play? Like, what are you talking about?
You said it was the best run at the end? Like, okay, but you didn't show it. You didn't talk about how it was. Like, I got to feel that emotion. And, I mean, that brings us back to Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson will always have that emotion. People rag on him because he's too over the top. But, dude, I like watching games in bars with my friends or in my man cave with my friends more because people are getting excited together. And when you get that emotion back with it, it's like Gus Johnson is just another fan in the room with you. And that's kind of like that's how I want my television. So, I think for me, gosh, man, I think Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. Tony Romo, obviously not anyone's favorite quarterback ever, but I think he's become a majority of like people's favorite color commentator. And then you mix it with Jim Nantz's pipes. Jim Nantz's great pipes. I mean, you put those two together, and it's a dream combo. So I've got a little spot for them.
It up the middle, still on his feet, looking for some help inside the 15 and all the way to the 10-yard line. Timeout for Pittsburgh. Timeout Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I think what Tony Romo does that sets him apart is he offers advice like the coaches can hear him. So at the very end of that play, you heard him go, "Timeout Pittsburgh! Come on, timeout! Take a timeout Pittsburgh!" Like he is telling you what the team should do at every single moment. He is saying how what kind of route the wide receiver should run and what the first 3 reads should be for the quarterback. Like, I don't know how you can fit that all in a broadcast. He is thinking ahead on every play and just the way that he wires everything together. That's why I'm going to put Romo and Nantz towards the top of my list.
Yeah, I had Jim Nantz on there just because he has some other people he does stuff with, but shout out also to Jim Nantz at the Masters.
Dude, Jim Nantz is amazing. I just golf.
Yeah.
He's the only guy I can listen to on golf, to be completely honest. Unless you're super British, I don't want to listen.
Hello, friends. Like, oh, just come on. Give me that every day.
It's just the calmest pipes ever. Like, he would be the best dad grandpa ever, next to my dad. But he's a guy. He's a good guy. Who do you got next, man?
Next, it was tough because I have one guy who I think is getting a little older. So I'll save him for last. And I haven't he's not done much for me lately, but he has one of the best calls ever. We'll get to him next. But I'm going to go with one of the crews who is just solid every game they do. There is just so much to him. You got Jeff Van Gundy, who just asked the most asinine questions about basketball ever. You have Mark Jackson, who has no time to put up with Jeff Van Gundy. And then you have just the voice of Mike Breen. Just bang, bang. I think you got to sound – he is perfect.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Just amazing. Just great. I love it.
Yeah. No, I do I like Jeff Van Gundy's just his mind goes everywhere. And then Mark Jackson just doesn't feel like he wants to be there, but he really wants to be there.
That's such a good way to put Mark Jackson, dude.
Yeah.
he cares. He just sometimes you can't tell. That's so
yes.
good. I'm gonna do a throwback to one of my favorite booths of all time, and that's gonna be Pat Summerall and John Madden. You can't put a price on that. Those are voices that I just wish I could still hear to this day. But here's a taste.
It's Charles Haley after arrest. Well, even when there's a penalty, I mean, he only knows one way to play, and he plays with leverage. And you just see what he does is he gets his helmet and gets everything underneath his guy. Because the first thing you want to do is get your guy lifted up, lined up at left defensive end. He's going against James Brown over there.
He's going against James Brown over there. Madden, he sounds like a moron, but he knows what he's talking about because obviously he's put together some bomb diggity teams with the Raiders back in the day. And he has the knowledge. I think just the way that he formulates his thoughts and decides to spew it out, it just comes out weird, and he sounds like a nut. So, personally, I know you froze up a little bit, but personally, I like the crew of John Madden and Pat Summerall.
Well, yeah.
You good? You there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Well, I'm also here, so I don't know what that recorded, but we'll see, I guess.
I heard you the whole time.
Okay. All right. Well, then I know who you saved for last.
Yeah, I actually – oh, man, I have a couple left, but I am going to go – I wanted to say the best thing you can say about John Madden is whenever you hear your voice, like you and me just did, we were just smiling. You hear his voice, and you're just like, yes, I love this.
Oh gosh, dude, that's why I break out the PS2 every once in a while just to play some Madden 2002 and hear those good old pipes. I didn't know a brick wall could run that fast. Hey, thanks, dude. I missed that. That hit was a 7.9 on the Richter scale. Thanks, John Madden.
Yeah. Someone who reminds me a lot of him is Boomer with the late night football.
Boomer Esiason?
No, not Boomer Esiason. Gosh, what's his name?
Cool. Oh, you're thinking of I bet when he does the home run derby. Back.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what's his name?
It's Chris Berman.
Berman. There we go. Berman. He we're not talking about him because he's not a broadcast booth, but he reminds me a lot of John Madden, just his cadence and just the crazy things he comes up with to say. But yeah, I love John Madden.
Sounds like a dying duck when he does the home run derby. It's one of my favorite calls of all time is when he calls back in a home run derby, man, for sure. But all right, so yeah, you were talking about Madden and then you were ready.
I alluded to earlier. Yeah, like I alluded to earlier, my last. I do love him and Chris Collinsworth together. I love the Chris Collinsworth slide in. But I'm going to go with Al Michaels. Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, obviously, like I said, but just Al Michaels, too, because he did the Miracle on Ice call. You just kind of have to talk about him whenever you talk about a broadcaster just because of that.
Well, Michaels was also there. Going back to John Madden, Michaels was there in the broadcast booth on Madden's last broadcast. They did one together.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because Michaels replaced Pat Summerall, and then Collinsworth replaced John Madden.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, no, I got that Al Michaels miracle call. It was back in like the 80s, wasn't it? So it's the quality's a
1980.
little
Yep.
the quality's a little rough, but here's the best one I got. The "Do you believe in miracles" part, that's the line that was heard around the world.
Yeah. Every time I watch that, because I love hockey, and that's my favorite sports moment in American history. The hair stands up on the back of my neck every time I hear that. Yes, like it's just like there's nothing else to say. Like, just, do you believe in miracles? Yes. Like,
sure do. Now I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a couple obviously to still go through, but I'm gonna Kevin Harlan and Rich Gannon. Kevin Harlan and Rich Gannon, man, on whether it's on Wood Radio or whatever, dude. Kevin Harlan will just make something out of nothing. His improvised game is strong. When the streaker ran out on the field and he broadcast that in one of the most boring NFL games of the year, I have got that right here for you, folks.
Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Here comes the blue coat,
Oh,
Kevin.
they got him.
Here comes the blue coats.
Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
And then you even get Rich Gannon in there yelling, "Here come the blue coats." So that was my way of trying to get both of them in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple left. One of mine, I don't have any soundbite for him, but Bill Walton and Dave Pasch.
Bill Walton.
I a lot of people can't stand him, and I understand why. I totally understand why, but if it's, dude, when it's midnight and you're looking for sports and you turn on some Pac-12 basketball and it's freaking Oregon versus Oregon State and Bill Walton's talking about the Grateful Dead tours he used to go on, and I love it. I love it. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I love it.
He is such a gump, dude. His voice is just so gumpy, but he just talks about everything. I think I listened to one time and he was talking about peanut butter sticking to the roof of his mouth. I'm like, what are you doing? It was just baffling, but it was enjoyable, definitely, for the reasons you said. If you're just looking for something to watch and you're still recovering from a drunk evening out or whatever, it's perfect.
Well, one of my favorite Bill Walton stories is on some show ESPN does about basketball. I don't know what it's called, but they had a signed picture of, I think it was Kareem, behind the desk. And Bill Walton was like, "I really like that picture." And he just took the picture. He just took it from the set. It was on the set. It's in the camera's view, and he's just like, "I like that picture." And he took it and then signed the wall with his signature where the picture used to be. And it's just like, yeah, Bill Walton.
He's definitely a character. You got to give him that. I'm going to go with some homebodies for us as Tigers fans. Definitely gives us a reason to listen to the Tigers the last couple of painful years. But I love Dan Dickerson's voice, and Jim Price. He's kind of annoying because he says the same things all the time. Like, nice area whenever they're doing a broadcast, or it's the art of pitching. Like, he says the same things that we all hear all the time. But there'd be times where I would mute Mario and Rod, who actually like Mario and Rod a little.
Yeah.
But Dan Dickerson and Jim Price, to me, was even better. So I would record the television, I would pause it up to where the radio was, and I would mute the television and listen to the radio, and it was a beautiful thing. So this is why I like Dickerson.
The 2-2 pitch again. Swinging a fly ball to right field. This one is deep. Crosses the fence. Leaps up. It's over his glove. And it's gone! A home run! Walk-off winner for Alex Avila! Unbelievable. Tigers win 13-12. You got it. Oh, baby! Is your mom seen it? Oh, the Tigers have done it! 3-run shot for Cabrera.
He's just so excited. He loves his team. Despite the pain of the year, He's always happy. Granted, that was 2012, so maybe he's less excited. But I mean, he's got the Maglio or Doane's home run call. Like I've got so much memories of just listening to the Tigers when they were playoff contenders every year. Just listening to them every single night was enjoyable for me.
Well, I got another one. I got one we don't have a soundbite for, I'm sure, but another homer pick is the Mickey Redmond and, gosh, what's the other guy's name? Ken Daniels for the Red Wings. I love Ken Daniels. Those guys have a lot of fun together. There's a clip of Mickey Redmond talking about getting everyone a cookie because they had a good game. Ken Daniels, they had a Martin Firk is a prospect the Red Wings had, and he played a game for them. And for his first NHL goal, Ken Daniels said, "What a Firkin shot!" And like, if you have a guy who says that, he's awesome. But one I did have a soundbite for, I hope it plays. Is for Auburn football, Rod Bramblett, who has one of the most famous calls of the returned kick for Auburn against Alabama in the Iron Bowl. So I have it pulled up right here, right after they missed the kick. So I'll hopefully play that, and it'll come into the speaker.
Chris Davis takes it to the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. He ran it back 109 yards. Keep him off the field tonight.
That's just, they're not going to keep him off the field tonight. Give them chills.
There's so many good ones. I don't know how we're forgetting probably one of my favorite voices in all of sports, and you know him because you love hockey, but Doc, Mike Emmerich, and Eddie Olczyk.
Yes. Oh, man, I forgot them too.
So I've got a couple of his.
From Yandel, and here's Sutter with an opening up the wing. Hit the post with the shot.
And then
Dances to the outside, takes his own pass. Marchand along in front.
like that voice, he's so quick, and whether he's making up like he's waffle bots off the wall, like what did you just say? That's not even a word, but it's so smooth. His transitions are perfect. He knows all these Russian names and Swedish names like drop of a hat without even missing them. It's amazing how quick his mind works at. Gosh, what is he now? He's got to be 70. He's 73. So he's
older. Well, and that's the thing. Like announcing hockey, especially play-by-play, is to me, with broadcasting sports, possibly the hardest job because hockey is more than, especially the big four sports, just so fast-paced, and you have no idea what's going to happen. Like especially when there's a power play.
It's small, so everyone's
moving
around everyone's skating around, and it's small quarters. Like you have that puck is passed. That puck is passed. It's just so quick. I don't know how he does it, man, but he's enjoyable.
And I gotta go back a few minutes in time and say that Emmerich is my number one above Gus Johnson. I love Emmerich.
Glad I brought that memory back for you.
When the Red Wings were good and it was Emmerich announcing in the playoffs, it was the purest moment of sports in my life ever. I love just his goal noise. Him just saying goal is just nostalgia. Oh yeah, I'm thankful you brought him up because I love Emmerich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're I gotta see. There was another one that I think. I mean, you're thinking of Ron Wolfe, and like Ron Wolfe was a former fullback in the NFL, but he's also the color analyst for the Arizona Cardinals, and I think he has one of my all-time favorite calls right here.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Like he said that in the middle of the game after the Cardinals won the game against McNabb and the Eagles. In like the NFC Championship game, I think 1 year, just his voice is just so odd, but enjoyable at the same time because he's just a goof. So I could think of a million different people. I know at some point here we could get to trivia. So if you got one more for me, or are you good?
The only other name I had, just because I like his podcast too, but he's only been in broadcast for a couple of years. Pat McAfee, the old Colts punter.
Yep.
He did a NFL game of the Packers and Lions when the Lions threw that. It was garbage time, but they threw that fake field goal for the touchdown. And he was just
For
like,
the brand.
oh, like it was. He loves, and it was perfect for him to call that game as one of his first games because he's a punter and he loves special teams. And for him to have a punt or a kicker to punter touchdown was just like, or a kicker to tight end touchdown was just perfect.
Yeah, I wish they gave him more of a chance. There's some man, whether it's Peyton Manning and him together, put someone in there that'd be one of the best broadcasters.
That'd be a lot of fun.
But my last one is my Madden team, Charles Davis and Brandon Gaudin. I like that, man. Gaudin's pipes are great, and Davis is one of my favorite color announcers.
15 yards on the play, first down. They gave up the completion there, but this is what zone defenses count on. Catching the ball, but not much right after the catch.
Yeah, so I couldn't find a whole lot from Madden commentary, but that was one I quick pulled out, and I just like the mix of the golden pipes from Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis color analysis is prime. Charles Davis is one of my favorite people. So,
and I just want to give a shout out to not to be politically incorrect, but basically anyone who does Spanish speaking soccer games, because just going goal, every time I hear oh, you saw this goal, but hear it from the Spanish announced team, I love it.
Oh, like this one.
Se lo perdió Raíz y ahora de contragolpe Donovan, se le va larga Donovan, la quiere por derecha Altidor, al área viene, y la cita por arquero, Donovan, gol!
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying, but it's perfect.
The enthusiasm is there. It wasn't as bad as that guy that did the Monday Night Football. Coach Vance Joseph having the time of his life. I remember that, and I was just like, this is.
Oh yeah, Sergio Dip.
Yeah, Sergio Dip, dude. Yeah, gosh, that was
him.
tough.
He's having the time of his life.
Oh man, Coach Vance Joseph. Yeah, I got it.
Yes.
Oh man,
Love it.
Ah, good grief. Yeah, so I can't think of anything else. I mean, I probably have so many sound bites because I'm just a sucker for that stuff. But
oh, I did want to mention, I know they're not a broadcast team, but I did want to mention the TNT NBA crew. Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson. They don't call games, but they are some of the funniest people in sports broadcasting ever. Charles Barkley just saying, talking about the chubby women in San Antonio, and Shaquille O'Neal trying to drink or eat a spicy chip. It's perfect. They're awesome.
I like it with Frank Caliendo, man. When he does his impressions, like when John Gruden was in the booth back in the day, and obviously he can do a great Summerall on Madden. He's put out some pretty great stuff even during this quarantine where he goes in his studio and he just comes up with some magical lines where, gosh, I want to see if I can find one. Now I have to do the Frank Caliendo Kansas City Chiefs. Because that one might be my favorite of all time. Let's see if I can quick pull it up. Yep, here it is.
We got
Mahomes back to pass. Nobody open. He scrambles to the sideline. He's out of bounds. He's still in, Pat. So he is. Mahomes inside the 5. Touchdown, Kansas City.
And that's just Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes right there, making muscles. And there's the Kansas City Wolf. I don't know what a Wolf has to do with the Chiefs, but I mean, look at what he does here. I mean, nobody over. Titans think he's just going to run out of bounds. But he doesn't run out of bounds. He stays inbound and then makes guys miss. Makes guys hit. And then boom, touchdown. And when you get a touchdown, you get to make muscles. There's the Wolf again.
You get a touchdown, you get to make muscles.
You get to make the muscles. I just Frank Caliendo makes me laugh, and his John Madden is the greatest John Madden of all time. So
yes. Oh yeah. He used to do Mad TV commercials as John Madden. when that was a show, and they were some of the funniest things.
The turducken. The turducken.
Yes.
You stuff a
There's one where he's
out of a
like
turkey. Or
There's
when
one where he's using like hardware tools and cuts his fingers
I was
off.
gonna say, yeah, the birdhouse when he's making the birdhouse.
Yeah, when he's making the bird. Oh, that's perfect.
Hey Jimmy, hand me the chainsaw. Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed.
So what should we talk about next week, dude? There's plenty of topics that we thought about trying to come up with, but I mean, you pulled this one out of your butt. Maybe you can pull another one out.
I mean, you can't just put me on the spot like that. I don't know about that.
Well, you thought and prayed about that one for a little while?
No, it was right off the top of my head.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll talk about it later. We got our trivia guy on board here. Here comes Mr. Doane. We'll get him in. Doane!
While he's getting in, I'm going to grab a pen.
All right, yeah, grab a pen. Grab a pen for sure. Hi, Doane.
Oh, hi there.
Welcome. Here's the CEO of ALLDAE Media, Mr. Red Doane.
Hi, Isaiah.
What's up, Tyler? Long time no see.
Oh, nothing. Just watching
Waking up from a nap with all your pillows, man. Holy cow.
No, I was just watching a show about the Barry Goldwater LBJ election.
That sounds like something I'm not that interested in, to be completely frank.
That's some good stuff right there.
Is it?
No, I mean, I really don't like LBJ. But
Yeah, shame. He's the guy that replaced your favorite guy in the world. It's gotta hurt.
he definitely had a role in the assassination. That's for sure.
Here come the
I don't want to talk.
We do have some of the hottest takes.
I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't want to be in a bad mood. I don't want to be salty.
Not for trivia. Definitely not for trivia. So Doane,
That's a Pete Johnson, though.
the way we do trivia here on the 6-3, typically we have a piece of paper and a pen or a Sharpie, whatever you choose to write on. You write your answers and then you show it onto the Zoom screen. That's kind of how we've been doing it. So I don't know if you're in proper form to write on a paper.
Yeah.
There you go. Look at you. You're prepared. You're probably taking notes about the Lyndon B. Johnson, Barry, whatever thing. So you got your pen right next to you.
No, I'm going to be writing on the back of my notes for a book about one of JFK's lovers.
That's what you want to
Or
talk
Marilyn
about?
Monroe?
No, Mary Pinchot Meyer. She was actually his last lover. She got whacked too.
Okay. Well, who's hotter, Mary or Marilyn?
Well, that's an interesting question because Marilyn was probably more attractive, but Mary Pinchot Meyer was attractive because she was really smart and that's attractive in a different way.
Yeah. Back in the 60s, you had to run your lips though. Back in the 60s, because women weren't allowed to have jobs yet.
Unless you're Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you want to pose slutty for Playboy, yeah, then you can get a job.
Hey. Hey.
Actually, interesting story
Oh man.
about Marilyn Monroe that I just learned. I was watching something about Sam Giancana, the gangster who took over the Chicago outfit from Al Capone. He actually not only had a role in the assassination of JFK, he was also a lover of Marilyn Monroe, who was a lover of JFK. So full circle right there.
That's
circle.
circle of life. Circle of life.
Man.
Yep. Yeah.
America.
Let's just get Elton John on it and start singing Circle of Life. Here we go. First question, should Doane get a haircut? Yes. First question is, should Doane get a haircut? The answer is yes.
No, dude, I'm not getting a haircut.
Just like this.
Ever. Dude, I had one of those when I was in the Army.
And what was wrong with it?
And I came home and it was really cold.
Well, it's not now. It's definitely not now.
No, I am sweating.
With that luscious head of hair, I'm sure you are.
I'm just starting to get the curls back, so I don't want to get rid of it.
You're also getting the Amish beard back too, so something's got to get trimmed.
Never.
All right.
I'm trying to join the Air Force, so then I'll get it all shaved off.
Oh, okay. All right. You're gonna fly planes into the Pakistani buildings now?
No, I just want to jump out of them.
Just want to jump out of them. All right. You're braver than me. All right, we're gonna do question one. We're gonna do question one. Here we go. Get your pen and papers ready.
We're ready.
All right. Samuel Tilden, Grover Cleveland, Al Gore, and Hillary Clinton share what distinction amongst U.S. presidential candidates?
What?
Sam Tilden, Grover Cleveland, Al Gore, and Hillary Clinton share what distinction together as presidential candidates?
All right, just tell me when to pull my paper out.
All right.
All right, let's see what you got. What? Isaiah wins with the more specific answer. They won the popular vote, but lost the electoral vote.
Well, they all lost.
Technically, that's true, but that's not the answer. That was specific.
It's specific. They lost. I mean, Grover Cleveland,
A lot of people that lost. That doesn't. I would have listed way more names. Isaiah had the answer I was looking for. All right.
But I wasn't wrong. Let's just clarify that.
All right. Technically, you are correct. There you go.
Thank you.
All right. The Tina in Tina Fey is short for what name? I can give you multiple choice if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with that.
All right. Albertina, Valentina, Bettina, or Stamatina?
There's some weird names.
Definitely some weird names. All right. Let me know when you're ready. Show them up.
Can you see that?
So both of you guessed Valentina. The correct answer is D. Stamatina.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's a horrible name. I don't know what happened. I can see why she just goes with Tina.
If you were
I
good,
get
if you didn't give us multiple choice, I was gonna say Tina Licious.
Man, I can see why that very unfunny woman goes by Tina.
What sports movie is the highest grossing of all time? I can do multiple choice if you need it.
Yeah, do multiple choice just because there's so many.
Yeah. A, Blindside. B, Seabiscuit. C, Rocky. D, Remember the Titans.
Rocky 1? We're saying Rocky 1.
That would be, yeah, Rocky 1. Yeah.
Okay, say them again.
A, Blindside. B, Seabiscuit. C, Rocky. D, Remember the Titans.
Should have done Seabiscuit as C, because B, Seabiscuit was tricky right there.
I know.
Trying to do a mind play with us.
It's not hard to do that with you, Doane.
It's a daily struggle.
Okay, give me the choices in order again.
Blindside, Seabiscuit, Rocky, Remember the Titans.
All right.
All right, let's see what you guys got. Rocky is the correct answer. It's tied at 1.
Come on.
If you wouldn't have given us the multiple choice, I was actually going to guess Remember the Titans. So I'm glad you did that.
Oh, okay. Huh. All right. In 1986, a U.S. Court of Appeals ruled what magic practicing movement as a religion?
What? Say it again.
1986, a U.S. Court of Appeals ruled what magic practicing movement as a religion?
No idea.
You study religions. You got it as a pastor.
I don't know other religions.
All right, I'll give you 4 of them then. In order.
All right.
Wicca, Scientology, Nation of Yahweh, Iglesia Maradonea.
All right. I'm ready.
All right, Doane, you ready? All right, let's see what you got. With Wicks and A, you both got Wick. Okay, so Wicca is correct. So you both are tied 2-2.
All right. 2-2.
When I was in the Army, they had, like, people go to Wicca services.
Is that how you knew? You guys wouldn't have known that without multiple choice there, huh?
No,
Well, I would have guessed Satanism, so, I mean,
Okay.
probably.
That's a pretty good
kinda.
I guess Mormonism and their weird underpants.
That's the weird part about Mormonism, yes.
Scientology is pretty odd too, man. You can't deny Scientology's got its weird.
That's just...
Oh, jeez.
Let's see. All right.
That guy that just sailed around the world on his boat.
Yes.
Hmm.
Halfway through, here's question 5.
All
What
right.
comedy became the first film directed by a woman to gross over $100 million at a box office? I'm going to give you multiple choice on this one as well. A League of Their Own, Big, Clueless, Bend It Like Beckham. I'll give it one more time. What comedy became the first film directed by a woman to gross over $100 million at the box office? A League of Their Own, Big, Clueless, Bend It Like Beckham.
All right.
Yes. Clueless, you both guessed. The correct answer is Big. With Tom Hanks. It's all good, though.
Fun.
Don't get me started on Tom Hanks.
There's probably a lot of people I could get you started on, to be honest. All right. This is the last of RJ's questions, because now I have asked all of his.
Who's RJ? He doesn't even show up.
I agree. I am disappointed as well. You can roast him because he was planning on roasting you, so now is your chance. He has nothing. You can't defend himself.
He needs to get rid of those kids.
I tell you, man. One by one on the black market. They're going it off pretty
Get rid of
quick, sure. I'm not going to promote
Get him out of
trafficking.
here.
I'm not promoting trafficking on the 6'3" podcast.
Get him out of here.
Here's my thoughts on this.
Oh, man. Bear with us.
Is that if he were to sell them on the black market, he could probably make a pretty penny. Then he could invest that in the 6'3", then make so much money that later he could buy back each child.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And then he could buy him back when they're only like 17, so he has them for a year.
And he gets rid of them during the annoying phase.
Dude, yes. Why aren't you his business manager? That is clearly
RJ. RJ, you better listen to this.
I'm gonna make him look at this point in the recording. I believe we're about an hour and 18 minutes into our recording right now. So I'm gonna make him look at this point and listen to Doane's advice. I mean,
And because he's not like making a ton of money, he could still. The IRS isn't going to come and look at him that closely, so he could still get him as a tax deductible. But there's not a lot of paperwork on the black market. Like, there's not a lot of paper trail.
Sir, what happened to your kids?
They're at summer
Out of
camp.
here.
dude, the only problem, the only downfall would be is they're gonna be super messed up after all this trauma. But so when he gets them back, I don't know. You better hope that they're professional athletes.
You know, kids, you just pop a full pills, it'll be fine.
Pop some pills, they'll be fine. You know, kids.
Whatever.
We're so experienced to be
I'm
talking
a
to this
terrible father. I'm a terrible father.
Good stuff. All right, question 6.
Keep your wife not watching.
Name the number that is 3 more than 1/5 of 1/10 of 1/2 of 5,000.
Jeez.
Blame this on RJ. I wouldn't have gotten this right.
Hey, say that again. Say it again. Say it again.
The number that is 3 more than 1/5 of 1/10 of 1/2 of 5,000.
Okay, I got it.
No way.
Let me do that real quick.
Yeah,
Do you want multiple choice?
I got it.
I could do multiple choice.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, let's see what you got there.
Wait, no, I went backward. Wait, can I write two answers? Because I don't know which way his math.
No.
Okay, so 3 more. Add 3 more to 1/5 of 1/10 of 1/2 of 5,000.
Okay, so it's. Oh, it's the same either way.
Okay, good stuff. Good say. Hey, that's correct. 53 and 8. All right, so Isaiah gets it. Nicely done. I would have given up on that one. I'd have been like, no thanks. Not in the mood.
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock. I'm not doing that kind of math tonight.
Hey,
Screw
we're a
math.
math guy here. We're a math guy. Mr. What's his name? Mr. Oh, you know who I'm talking about. What's the guy who played tennis at Hudsonville High School? Started with a B.
Bentley?
Mr. Bentley taught me well.
I never had him, but
No.
That's why Isaiah got that and you didn't. Bentley made all the difference in the world. Shout out to Bentley.
yeah, I had Signori, and all he did was just teach me jokes.
Well,
Yeah, he was
hey,
just-
they paid
he was
off.
just a-
You're a funny guy now.
Too
All
bad
right.
you're a Packers fan.
That does suck. I've got
Yeah, it's gonna make me a lot of money someday.
I got 11 names when I did this. My wife timed me. You're gonna get 30
Right.
seconds, and I'm gonna have it showing on.
Okay, so this is how good I am at math. Last question was 6. I write down that this one's number 9. So
Similar.
It's just upside down. You're not far. Okay, so this one I got 11 names. My wife timed me, but whoever writes the most Bible names that start with the letter A in 30 seconds. Ready?
I start?
Set, go. Ten seconds. Stop.
Can I finish the one I'm writing?
I guess if it's a long
I
name.
already
Okay.
did. I already did.
All right. Good stuff. Let's see how many you guys got. I got 11 when I did it. Let's see how many you pulled off.
I got 8 because I was writing with marker and it was kind of hard.
Okay.
You need me to read them?
Nope. Those are good. Those are all valid. You got 8. Let's see. Abraham, Ahab, Aaron, Amos. Alan is not one.
I know, but it started with A.
It's all good. So other ones that I got when I guessed was Asher.
Yep.
And Abner, Ananias, Achan. Remember Achan who buried the treasure?
Is
And
he
I would have
related to Acon?
Achan.
It's related to Acon.
He was in the book of Joshua.
Yeah.
When they plundered Canaan, I believe he hid the treasure.
Acon wrote a pretty good song that I liked. So
I'm sure he did. And then I would have accepted. I would have accepted Abba, Father.
ooh.
All right. So Isaiah gets that one, and he would go up now 4-2 with 3 more questions. 3 more questions.
Man, I can't believe I forgot Aaron.
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that I got Aaron also. Okay.
Hmm.
What book of the Bible is the story of Samson and Delilah in?
Oh. Come on.
All right. Judges is correct. Daniel, Judges is correct. Yes.
Samson was a
The
judge.
first one that came to my mind. So
It's all good, dude. It's all good. You're
at least
fine.
it's a book of the Bible.
It is true. RJ wouldn't have even put a guess down. So you'd be
You were like, what's the Bible?
pretty much.
That's not like it's on the black market.
You would have said chapter 3.
Page 419.
Yeah.
That would have been more impressive if you got the page in the NIV. That's for sure.
Man.
All right. What is the length of time for the shortest commercial flight in the world?
I don't know, man.
You just got to guess time in minutes.
2.
I'm gonna whatever you want to guess. I'm gonna let whoever's the closest.
Can you tell me what the cities it's between are?
No, I'm not. I'm not gonna tell you.
All right.
But whoever's the closest gets this point. So someone will get this point.
Okay.
All right, let's see what you got. 7's closer because it's 2 minutes is the shortest commercial flight.
I said that as a joke.
I know. I said that. I know. I was like, oh wow. Okay. It's between 2 islands in Scotland.
Should have stuck to your gun there, yeah.
Come on.
All right, so it's 5-3, Isaiah, on the last question. In inches, how wide can a hippo open its mouth?
Ooh, is this just whoever gets closer?
I can do that too. We'll go with whoever gets closest in inches.
Man, I wrote a paper on hippos in 5th grade, and I don't remember.
Shame on you.
Thanks,
Who
Doane.
writes papers on hippos?
We had to pick an animal, and I was literally the last person to pick in our class. I didn't have many choices.
Are you telling me there wasn't a bush baby available?
No, I didn't. I was 9. I didn't know about bush babies, or
You should have wrote about hungry hippos.
Ooh.
I should have wrote about like a tough or a blue-footed booby.
Yeah, there's so many now that I grew up.
Or a
Yeah.
ladder.
All right, who's the closest to it? Let's see what you got. Did you get 7 again? Oh, no, 67?
67.
Okay. 40 is closer because it's 48.
Ooh, I was gonna say 48, but I thought it was
4 feet. They say about 4 feet. So,
Hey,
all right. Well, that concludes.
trivia win.
Yeah, that concludes it. Good stuff. We'll make sure you come on and beat RJ up in one of these trivias at some point, and Isaiah and I will split the questions.
If I win, do I get one of RJ's kids to sell? Because I could use the money.
I don't know if this is getting weird.
No, we're making that promise for you. Right? That is the prize. You have my word.
His fingers are
Okay,
crossed
don't.
behind his back.
Don't I have one actual sports question for you before we leave?
Okay.
If you had to rank Aaron Rodgers, what position of top quarterbacks would he be in coming into the 2020 season?
I would say probably 5.
Okay.
Wow, you're pretty low. I put him at 2 on our list, didn't I?
Because I would
I
have
had
to
him at 4.
I'd have to say Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. I can't not Tom
Stafford.
Brady. I mean, I'm not. He's got Gronk, and Bruce Arians likes to air it out.
Matt Stafford's better than Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know about that, but Deshaun Watson.
Mitchell Trubisky.
So I can dig Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes as obvious ones over him. Even though I put Rodgers still above Watson on my list, but I would say Russell Wilson maybe. But I don't not want to put Lamar Jackson ahead of obviously well-performed Aaron Rodgers' entire career on one MVP season of a young quarterback that will probably burn out at some point. NFL teams will figure that guy out. So I'm not going to put Lamar Jackson ahead of Aaron Rodgers, I don't think, in any list. But Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, those are guys that you could make an argument for. But I don't know how he goes behind. I don't know how he goes lower than 5. I think 4 is probably the lowest he'd fall on any list.
I just think that Lamar Jackson at this stage in his career has the ability to break it open with his legs. And not that Rodgers doesn't, but Rodgers, his supporting cast is, I'd say, average.
Well, with that big G in the background for you, I respect your non-homer attitude towards Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers. I had Jared Baldier say hi to him for me.
Do you take Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers in their prime?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Brett Favre! He's the
Come on, man.
He's the
Dude.
gunslinger.
Yeah, and he'll throw 25 picks on his way.
Yeah, but you're always in the game.
Jameis Winston.
Yeah, until he throws a pick six. That is a tough one. That is a tough one. What about, okay, Brett Favre or Bart Starr?
That's still Brett Favre for me, man. These
Yeah.
these 1960s quarterbacks don't hold candles to even like the third string quarterbacks in today's NFL. So if you at least lined them up in today's, they'd be like 57 overall quarterbacks on Madden. It'd be terrible.
You want a hot take?
Ask Doane.
If Dan Marino was in our quarterback rankings for this incoming season, he'd be in the teens at the highest.
Would he be?
No, he'd be top 10.
Would he be above?
I think he'd be around 9 or 10, though, to be honest. I think he's probably
Yeah.
close.
Would he be above or below Nathan Peterman?
God, shit.
Below for sure.
Thank you.
Nathan Peterman is still the Hall of Famer that Doane thinks he is.
You know,
Listen, Patrick Mahomes was 1A on my list. Nathan Peterman was 1B.
Nathan Peterman could be in the Hall of Fame someday.
I think Jameis Winston would be in the Hall of
He
Fame.
might take a trip there.
He might drive himself to Canton. He might drive himself to Canton for sure.
Jameis Winston and Nathan Peterman are going to drive a conversion van.
Which basically means that RJ and I went to the Hall of Fame before Nathan Peterman did.
I mean, yeah, hey.
We're the GOATs.
But I went first because I've
I'll have
been
to go-
when I was a little kid.
Okay.
I'll have to go soon. I'll have to go soon so I can say it too.
Well, maybe we'll get media passes at some point, yeah?
We need to get media passes.
I'm not going this year, dude. I'm not going to sit around for 20 inductions this year. It was already long enough because Tony Gonzalez took like 50 minutes last year. It's like, ain't nobody got time for this.
Yeah.
As soon as I make over half of my money from media, I'm going to get media passes to go to the presidential inauguration as media.
Ooh. Does it depend who wins, or are you going to go either way?
Can you sing the national anthem?
Oh, say, can
I didn't
you
say now, but I said it when you get there.
by the
What's
dawn
early light? You know, it would have been funnier if you would have said by the Doane's early light.
But Doane's light is early, on time, and light.
Doane's light is orange.
We lost
It
him.
was a ginger joke.
It was a ginger joke.
No.
Gingers have no souls.
Yes, I do. I stole a 30 last week.
See, that's the only way
RJ's
you can feed.
kids.
You have to feed off other souls, though. That's a disadvantage.
Or it's an advantage.
We are losing time after an hour and a half of the 6-3 podcast.
This is definitely what happens when we get Doane on. They can go on all day. I can feel my soul escaping my body. But thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the 6-3 podcast. We'll have you guys on again soon. You can check out Doane at the ALLDAE Media as well. He's got his list he's putting out on YouTube.
Yeah, I make out with him.
On YouTube at ALLDAE Media. So we'll catch you next week, Tuesday, guys. See ya.
See ya.